Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public service announcement. For regular viewers and listeners of AWI Pod, please do not be offended, as this program contains good wrestling.
It's my life in the box in front of me. Taking talk in my arms is the soul of me. You walk by, ask to see me lay face down. Your hands on the sword in your hand.
Hello and welcome everybody to the historic 10th episode of Warring to Attitude. I am your host, Brent Piles, and today, not only is it a day that we are recording, but it is also a special day because it is Monday, May the 15th, and it is my co-host's birthday. He is the ballroom brawling, he is the disco dancing, dynamite stretching, intercontinental playboy, folks. He's more over than your birthday. Glenn Evans, GA Russell Knight. Glenn, how you doing?
Well, there's two things that people didn't think would happen. That I'd survive another year and that we'd get to 10 episodes.
Yeah, we've defied all logic twice today, Glenn. Absolutely, we have. So, Glenn, I gotta ask you, how's your birthday been going so far?
Very quiet. Just took days off of work. Just bummed around, basically. Not done a lot today.
I think you told us on Friday you're on a week's vacation, right?
That's all right.
So Glenn can stay up and watch Monday Night Raw with no worries this evening.
That's it. Yep. Whether I survive it or not is another matter, but I can.
Well, that's always another matter, Glenn. That's always a whole nother scenario and situation. Glenn, since it's your birthday, I think it's only right that someone sing you a happy birthday song. So I'm going to do that for you. Okay, you ready?
Okay, thank you.
On three, I'll start. 1, 2, 3. Spend my days working hard on the go, but the hands on the clock keep spinning too slow. Glenn ain't getting no happy birthday song on this podcast tonight. If you didn't see that coming, you should have saw it coming.
I saw it coming.
Okay. I sing that for everybody on their birthday, at least my wrestling friends.
I wasn't expecting happy birthday from you.
If UTT Rob's out there listening to this, I want you to play me singing that for Dan Griffin because I know it'll drive him crazy. But anyway, Glenn, we're not here to talk about birthdays or Monday Night Raw or week's vacation or any of that stuff. We are here to review 1997 WWF.
Monday Night Raw.
Well, that Monday Night Raw. A different Monday Night Raw.
Different Monday Night.
I was very wrong upon that because we are here to talk about Monday Night Raw. So, yes, it is the Monday Night Raw edition of February 17th, 1997 from the Nashville Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. The Nashville Arena is now known as the Bridgestone Arena. It opened in 1996, so a fairly new building here in February of 1997. It is the home to the NHL's Nashville Predators, which is one of my least favorite hockey teams. I hate the Predators. I call them the Trashville Predators because I hate them. It's also held the Country Music Association Awards every year since 2006. Glenn, how many times have you watched the Country Music Association Awards?
Never have.
I didn't think you had, so that's why I figured I'd ask. It also held WWE pay-per-views, Judgment Day in 2002, which is the pay-per-view where Edge defeated Kurt Angle in a hair versus hair match, and is also the night that Hulk Hogan lost the WWF Undisputed Championship to The Undertaker. They also did Night of Champions 2014 at this arena, and also held the very first Monday Night Raw of 2023. So, a pretty frequent arena for WWE here.
That hair versus hair match. I wonder if that's the only time where somebody lost a match, lost their hair, and it never grew back.
That's a really, really good point. The fun thing about that is I've heard Bruce Prichard tell like the story of like how they ribbed Edge, like when the day for the match came, they ribbed Edge and were telling Edge that he was going to lose, and Edge is like, "Are you kidding me?" They just thought, imagine shaving all of Ed's hair. That would just been so good in 2002. And Glenn, if you're planning a big vacation this summer to Nashville, Tennessee, you can get your tickets now to see Canadian singer Bryan Adams on June the 17th. Or if you want to wait until July, you can see Blink 182. So if you're going
I'd
to hang
rather
out in
see
Nashville, make sure
I'd
you do
rather
that.
see Blink 182 than Bryan Adams. No, that thing that he did with the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves theme song.
True.
That's it. Everything I do for you.
That
That had been
that was Blink 182.
that had been in our charts for years. It seemed like I was doing a disco in a pub, and I took it. I took a copy of it. I took it out into the middle of the floor and took a hammer to it. That's how much I hate that song.
Is it because it's Robin Hood? Is that why?
No, it's because it's just a bloody annoying song.
Oh, okay. Well, I know. I'm saying, why was it so popular for so long? Because that had something to do with
Oh
Robin Hood?
yeah. It was just because of Robin Hood, I think.
You were DJing in Nottingham Forest?
No. No, it was just one of those things. There's a lot of that sort of stuff around at the time. If anybody sang on a TV program or something, it would suddenly go to the top of the charts.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Weird.
So they're not messing around, Glenn. They kicked this show off where we're going to get a WWF title match.
Well, first of all, we get some bad news from JR. He announces proudly that it's a 2-hour show tonight.
Oh. That is maybe a bit of bad news. I don't know, depending on how you look at it. I was confused for a second. I was like, what do you mean? I don't remember JR giving us any bad news.
Well, they wasted some of it. It might as well have been. Saying, sorry, before I rudely interrupted you.
No, you're good. It looks like we're going to get Bret Hart versus Psycho Sid for the WWF Championship. But Stone Cold Steve Austin hits the ring instead and attacks Bret Hart before the match can even start. Then Sid goes after Austin. Austin takes out Sid's knee, which Sid seems to be very hurt at this point. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting way to start the show, don't you think?
I knew that I couldn't remember what had happened, but I knew there was going to be shenanigans because you never start a show with a title match.
Yeah, not unless you're going to have like another championship match at the end of the show. That's the only time they ever do that.
That's right. I love what they said is that it was a bevy of security and officials that removed Austin.
They didn't do a very good job because there'll be a running theme throughout this show. We're going to see a lot of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Most of the time being removed. So it doesn't look like we're going to get that match to start. So instead, they give us a recap of what happened at Raw Thursday, with Shawn Michaels losing a smile. And they also let us know that we will hear more about Shawn Michaels' knee injury coming up later in the show. They then show us some still shots, which we've talked about before, how I love the still shots from the pay-per-view. It just makes everything seem so much bigger because it's so important that we can't show you the full thing. We just have to show you still. So I really thought that was cool.
Well, it's just a whole thing, isn't it? That people forget that they seem to assault your intelligence that you might have watched it.
Right. That's true.
You know, this is not 1980s territory where you used to have to pay hundreds of dollars for a pay-per-view and then see the stills of it on the Saturday morning show after it.
Yeah.
That was as close as you got to pay-per-views.
Well, like back in those days, too, like you would have big stadium shows or big shows, and if you were there and you didn't see it, you just didn't see it. The only reason why they did TV back in the day was to build to those house shows at your arena that only the local people were going to be able to see. So, So
but those days are over by now. But they're still treating it the same way.
Right. So instead of a championship match to start, Glenn, we are going to get Mark Morrow taking on someone who's been all over the place recently, Savio Vega. He was on Backlash last weekend down there in Puerto Rico.
I don't know what they were doing there. Did they not have the room for all of Nation of Domination to come out together? Because there was about 8 of them came out with Savio Vega. Then suddenly Farouk and Clarence appeared on the balcony.
Yeah, they had a couple more people with them too.
Yeah.
He's up there with the crowd for some reason. We're not exactly sure why, but he was. Maybe just so he could do that cool raised fist in the sky thing from the crowd because it looks cooler.
Yeah.
They also gave us like a recap of Mero's match with the Leaf Cassidy at the pay-per-view, kind of showing that we're getting kind of a different side of Mero and Sable, because they're kind of doing some heelish shit as far as her getting involved in matches and stuff like that.
Yeah,
which is kind of
that
what
was
happens.
My note. It's now 2. Yeah, it's now 2 on 7.
Yeah. So, like I said, this match was only done for the ending of it. One of the white rappers gets involved on the floor, and Sable uses some of her kicks to show him who's boss.
That was a stiff kick she gave into.
Well, she probably didn't know how to do anything but stiff kicks at that point.
No.
And then
I like the bit where Mero's got them both out, got Savio and Crush out on the floor, where he jumps out, he dives out the ring onto them.
Oh, yeah.
And then he gets hold of the pair of them and smashes their heads together. That was quite inventive.
Yeah, so that happens, and then NOD, the Nation of Domination guys, all decide that they've had enough of this shit, as they are all kind of going after Sable. She gets in the ring just to try to get some help from Mero. The entire Nation of Domination is surrounding Mark Mero, but luckily for them, Ahmed Johnson is out of the hospital and found one of Hacksaw's 2x4s and chased off the Nation of Domination. Glenn, how many outfits like Ahmed Johnson had on in this thing do you got?
No, not one. Wouldn't be seen dead in anything like that.
I don't blame you.
Don't even know how to describe it.
I do not blame you, Glenn. I think I missed too. We had a Psycho Sid promo, I think, before that match.
We did.
And
we did just slightly before
and
that.
Glenn, if it's a Psycho Sid promo, we gotta hear it. So.
You gotta listen.
I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm going to make it simple. Not even if my leg was broken, not sleet, snow, rain, or hell water, or Stone Cold Steve Austin will stop me from getting to my destiny. And that's becoming the World Wrestling Federation champion. And that statement says that I am the man, and I am the master, and I am the ruler of the world.
As he said through gritted teeth.
What is hell water?
I don't know. It was also funny.
Through rain, snow, or hell water.
Lava, maybe? Is lava maybe hell water?
I don't know.
I've heard of hell fire, but never heard of hell water.
I'm sure that's what he meant to say.
I think he was just trying to throw all the natural disasters together, and they were like, I think, hell and water just kind of ran together, and he was like, "Oops." At least he didn't try to start the promo over when they were live, like that one time he did with JR. So that's good.
Yeah.
Then we also they talked to Bret Hart before we get into the Leaf Cassidy Rocky Maivia Intercontinental Championship match, and let's see what Bret had to say.
All I can do is focus on now, every battle and try not to worry about it. Psycho Sid's got a title shot. I'm assuming it's going to be a tough fight, and there'll be no excuses when he loses. And after I get done with Psycho Sid, I'll just look to the next match and the next match and the next match. And
wait a minute, were you brushing off Psycho Sid?
No, I'm not brushing off anybody.
Like
as far as I'm concerned, they're all great contenders, but that's all they are. You can only look out for number one. If you don't stop looking out for number one, you start stepping on number two. And I'm not going to let any of that happen. I am the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. And this proves it for the 4th time.
And Brett, very quickly here, what about WrestleMania 13? You could be facing The Undertaker if you're successful here tonight.
Bring him on. Bring on Undertaker. I'm not afraid of The Undertaker. I wasn't afraid of him yesterday, and I'm not afraid of him tomorrow, and I'm not afraid of him today. I'm not afraid of anybody.
The funniest thing,
and we took the piss out of Sid.
Yeah, you're right. He also said that. He said, if you're not worried about number one, you're stepping on number two. Well, if you're already number one, ain't you stepping on number two already?
This is no matter the best there is, the best there was, but this promo certainly wasn't it.
Yeah, it's certainly not that one. Yeah, Brett was never a really, really good promo guy. He just wasn't. It just wasn't what he was good at. But I had someone try to tell me one time that Bret Hart was an overrated wrestler, but a good promo, and I blocked that person because I assumed that they were an idiot at that point. Because what the fuck? Rocky Maivia is defending the Intercontinental Championship against Leif Cassidy, who just lost to Mark Merrow the night before, so he definitely 100% deserves an IC title match. 100%.
Well, this as I've got in my notes is the commentary talking about anything else but the match.
Yep. We also got a certain hussy in a purple dress that came down to the ring who's going to be the special guest timekeeper, I suppose.
Oh, the slutty timekeeper.
Slutty timekeeper, yes, absolutely. It's Sunny, in case you didn't know people we mean Sunny. The King calls Rocky the luckiest kid on earth, which I thought was pretty good. Rocky, it's a bit, and like during this match too, like The Rock did a lot of cool shit, and I really don't understand. I don't get why people boo him. Like, there's nothing about him to boo. I don't understand it. Like, looking back at it now, I just don't get it.
They're not exactly putting him over well, though, are they?
That's a good point. Yeah, it's a good point.
You know, even Hunter pops up halfway through and does a promo. They keep on doing these picture-in-picture promos, and it's supposed to be a title match. At least give it a little bit of. No, it was more like the mid show jobber match that they throw in, just so they can talk about other things. And
I think this is around the This is around the time in WWF when the Intercontinental title kind of really starts to lose its luster. You know what I mean? Like, it was always
definitely.
It was always whoever they gave that belt to was like the workhorse champion, and that kind of goes. I think that kind of goes away in the late '90s and the 2000s. I mean, and it really didn't pick back up steam until now with Gunther having it. You know what I mean? Like, it's been that far off for a long time. And I really think this is where that's kind of starting, because really they gave us split screens of Sunny during this match. We got an interview with Triple H. The King starts arguing with the fan behind him, who's got an ECW sign.
Yeah, they're starting ranting about ECW.
Yeah, and he takes one of the signs away from the kid, and he's still got another ECW sign, which I thought was really funny. And basically they didn't give a fuck about this match. The Rock ends up winning with the shoulder breaker as his finisher, which is pretty fucking boring if you ask me.
I thought he was actually going to do the rock bottom or the people's elbow, because the way he stopped just before he picked him up and did the knee drop, he stopped like he did later on when he would do the people's elbow. And I thought, is he going to do that? Yeah.
And the strange thing was, like, he hit like a really cool high like crossbody block from the top rope, and then he doesn't do that to pick him up and do a shoulder breaker. Like, how is that cooler? Now I get why they're doing it, because his finisher's a fucking shoulder breaker. That's how they're doing. Now. But this match was about nothing but ECW and the Hunter Hearst Helmsley Goldust feud. Speaking of that,
but that gets interesting. It gets interesting at the end, I think you were about to say.
Did something happen at the end that I forgot about?
Well, it was just the King actually cutting a promo on ECW and saying, we're in New York next week. Anybody wants to come down there and I'll sort you out.
I forgot about that. The King basically challenged the ECW people to come to Monday Night Raw next week, which we're going to hear more about that later on in the show too. And the next thing we got up, speaking of the Triple H Goldust feud, the next thing we get is an interview with Goldust and Marlena, where Goldust says that Triple H has made it personal, and the only way that he could get to Marlena is over his dead body. We also then hear from Marlena, who says that even though her and Goldust like to play a lot of games, that Goldust is all man and more than Triple H will ever be. So I think they're trying to. I think they at first with this Goldust thing, they were leaning hard on the, homophobic stuff that was a lot bigger in the 90s, and that wouldn't get over today, obviously, and I'm not condoning it, but they were leading into that heavily, and I think they got a lot of blowback, and I think this is them pushing, like moving,
trying to move away from it.
Then Triple H eventually makes his way down to the ring. He throws water in Goldust's face, and then he starts beating up Goldust because apparently water in Goldust's face just leaves him completely incapacitated. He doesn't know how to do anything if he's got water in his face.
No. He's melting his makeup.
That's what it was. It melted his makeup. That's what it was. Marlena then slapped the living hell out of Hunter, and then Glenn, who showed up?
It's that mystery woman again,
Mm-hmm.
the one with the muscles, who we don't know who it is yet, but she may have come from China.
She may very well be from China. We are not sure. We don't have really any information on this lady. She really roughed Marlena up. It took about 8 security guards and guys to get her out of there.
She really ragdolled.
Yeah, he ragdolled.
She really ragdolled her, didn't she?
She did. It was like Marlena was a fucking child the way she was whipping her around. Yeah. Very physical. And that had to have hurt. You know what I mean? That had to have hurt.
It does. It must have done. And then because they're selling the fact that Marlena's coughing up blood and
they also mentioned
basically
times that she's been taken to the hospital. And you notice, Glenn, he didn't say medical facility. He said hospital. He said local hospital.
He says hospital.
So I don't know if JR got an ass chewing for that or not, but maybe not. Oh.
I don't think they did at that time. I think they were still saying hospital at that time.
Maybe. I don't remember. I guess we'll find out before we keep going on.
Because Ahmed Johnson had been in the hospital in Lowell, Massachusetts for
you're right.
2 weeks, hadn't he?
They hadn't made that rule yet, Glenn. They hadn't made that rule yet. You could still call it wrestling in a belt. As we heard from Bret Hart several weeks ago, where he said belt like 15 times in one promo. The next match was a tag team match. It's the Headbangers, and they're taking on these guys named the Hardy Boys. Glenn, you ever heard of these guys?
Couple of fresh-faced jobbers. I wonder what happened to them.
Yeah, I heard one of them got broken, and I don't know what happened. Strange stuff.
Yeah.
We also got like you said, in all the matches tonight, they've been doing lots of side by sides, and we got a side by side with Farouk, and let's hear what Farouk had to say.
You've got an advantage over everyone on earth. See, you don't have to die to go to hell. You're in it now, and I'm the devil, and here are all my demons right here. And when I get you in that ring in Chicago, I'll tell you what we do. Let's just make this a Chicago street fight.
What?
We'll show everyone in the world what the streets is really like, because you're looking at the devil right here by any means necessary.
So apparently, Farouk had to wash his underwear every night when he got home, so he'd have something to wear to school. Then he'd have to walk to school uphill both ways. And Ahmed Johnson didn't have to do any of that. So he's also the devil, and
Perhaps he's the one that provides the hell water.
Maybe Glenn just came full circle here. So what do you think about this tag team match?
It was interesting seeing the experienced team of the Headbangers against a couple of fresh-faced youths that we know the history of.
Yeah. I think by this point, too, that the Hardy Boys had been wrestling for a while, because I think they had been doing they were doing job stuff in like 94 or 95. So and I noticed they had nice matching gear here, too, which I liked. I was really impressed with both of these teams. It was a really fun, high-paced, lots of innovative tag team wrestling moves. A lot of stuff.
And it's good that it wasn't Furnace and LaFon again. It made a change.
That's a good point, Glenn. It's nice that we've got 2 different tag teams, right?
Yes, yeah.
The Headbangers
and 2 proper tag teams at that.
2 proper, and they had matching gear, and they had a tandem name. That ended with an S. So that's perfect. Or Hardy Boys ending it with the Z yet, or was it still with an S? I don't know.
It's still with the S. They still had the S's on their gear.
Okay.
They hadn't gone to the Z yet.
The Hardy Boys, they're just the Hardy Boys.
No.
They became the boys when they became men, is what happened.
Yes.
Headbangers hit that cool power bomb, top rope, leg drop finisher for the win. And we find out that next up, Glenn, is going to be the WWF Championship match.
It's a Psycho Sid versus Bret Hart, take 2.
Attempt to give us a recap of why the match didn't happen at the beginning of the show. They hit Bret's music, and they cut to him making his way to the ring from his dressing room. And what happens, Glenn?
Of course, Steve Austin attacks him again.
Because it doesn't matter how many security guards and people have thrown Austin out, he always comes back.
And Sid's pissed off with this. So Sid appears from behind the curtain because he was waiting in the ring. And then he starts wailing at everybody. Vince gets involved, takes a couple of right-handers from Sid.
That was my favorite part.
I wonder why he wasn't long for WWF after this.
Yeah, no kidding. That was my favorite part, was seeing Vince getting the Knicks there. I thought that was really funny. So maybe we won't be getting that match just yet. We also get Kevin Kelly talking to President of WWF, Gorilla Monsoon, and they're still talking about how we don't do the bait and switch here in the WWF, and you will get that title match tonight, but not right now.
Yeah, right. So we get Flash Funk and the Funkettes.
Time to get
instead.
funky. Go ahead. That's right.
Yeah.
Flash Funk and the Funkettes are here. Is it absolutely necessary for them to show the whole dance every time they come out? Because it's super awkward.
I know, it goes on super long, doesn't it?
Yeah, like I don't mind watching it for like a minute or a minute and a half, but like 3 minutes of that is way too much.
And surprise, surprise, it's against Owen Hart. He comes out with Clarence Mason, but he's got both the belts, which I thought, there's something afoot.
Yeah, especially when David's not with him, and he's got both belts, which is strange.
No.
They also this is where they let us know that Marlena is at the hospital coughing up blood after that attack by that mysterious woman. They also ran down all the problems that Owen and Bulldog have been having lately. This was a really good match. Two great workers on a fast-paced match, but again, they didn't give a fuck about this match on commentary. It was about everything else.
Too much going on. Too much going on. Yeah, because this is the point where you got these two good wrestlers in the ring that they decide to take a call from somebody in authority at ECW, and of course and I love what he said. You could call me Paulie Dangerously, you could call me Paul Heyman, you could call me whatever you like, but there's only one person in charge in ECW, and it's me.
Yeah. That was really good. And he says that him and the ECW superstars will be at Monday Night Raw next week. So next week is the infamous ECW Invasion episode, Glenn. So that should be fun.
Yes. Yeah. That I remember that. I don't know why I remember it, but I do completely. And back in the ring, Flash comes off the top rope. Nearly pins Owen because Clarence Mason is distracting Owen.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either. He was like trying to get him out of the ring, and I was like, what the fuck is even happening?
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah. So then we get the Bulldog come stomping out to the ring. And I'm thinking, is he going to have a go at Owen here? But no, he has a go at Clarence Mason, tells him to get lost.
Yeah, kicks Clarence Mason out of ringside, tells him to kick rocks. He stays up there himself. And we also get an interview with Stone Cold Steve Austin, which is going to be our last promo on the show here. Let's see what old Stone Cold had to say.
Gorilla Monsoon says I'm this far from going over the edge. I done went over the edge. I'm about this far from whipping his ass. He makes up the Final Four match, of which I'm a participant, and that was never supposed to happen. I won the Royal Rumble fair and square by throwing 29 pieces of trash over the top rope. There ain't no such thing as an instant replay rule in the WWF. Shawn Michaels got a little hurt knee, so he quits. By all rights, that should make me the WWF champion, and that's the bottom line. You hold me back, this whole organization holds me back because I ain't full of glitz and glamour and big smiles for all the publicity shots. The bottom line is, I'm opening up a whole keg of whoop ass, and I'm serving it to everybody in the WWF, and that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Wow.
Said so.
That's some good shit right there.
This is probably as near as at this stage as we're going to get to Attitude Era Stone Cold.
Yeah, definitely. He's really starting to get that edge that he really needs to Because I know, like at WrestleMania, we're going to talk about the whole double turn and everything, but he was already pretty much a babyface already because people were cheering him everywhere. You saw Austin 316 in the sign all over the place. So yeah, he was already. As soon as he said that Austin 316 said, "I just whooped your ass," people were starting. Like, I'm not saying that it happened right away, but people started to cheer him. You know, weeks and weeks leading up after that. So Flash hits a beautiful moonsault for a 2 count, but Davey hits Flash in the head with Owen's slammy, and Owen hits a spin kick for the 3 count. And it appears for now, Glenn, that Owen and the Bulldog might be on the same page.
They will, might be. We'll have to wait and see.
We will have to wait and see. And then they showed a really cool video promo for WrestleMania 13. Glenn, how excited are you to rewatch and review WrestleMania 13?
I'm always excited to rewatch WrestleManias, especially from this sort of time, because I was probably, if I did watch it, at my mate's early hours of the morning and we were drinking home brew. So, as you can imagine, I can't remember much about this period of pay-per-views.
If you're drinking booze you made yourself, then chances are you don't remember a lot. Yeah, absolutely.
No, that's right. That's it.
I'm going to see if maybe we can get a guest on the show to review WrestleMania 13 with us. We'll talk about that later. Our next match is Hunter Hearst Helmsley taking on Bart Gunn. They show us more footage of that mysterious woman who sent Marlena to the hospital. They talk about the 1997 Slammy Awards, and man, Glenn, if I could find those on the internet somewhere, I would love to have a watch of the 1997 Slammy Award show. That would be a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah, I would as well.
I'm gonna scour the internet to see if I can find it. I'm gonna scour the internet to see if I can find it. And also, Glenn, we got a special guest on commentary, didn't we?
Yes, we did. He's back. The one and only Honky Tonk Man.
Yay. Apparently still hasn't found what he's looking for. We mentioned on the newest episode of the Mayor Super Superstars that maybe it was Tatanka. But unfortunately, Tatanka's not in the WF 1997, so too bad for Honky Tonk Man. Every time I see Bart Gunn, I'm pretty impressed with him. He's big, strong, fast. He did one hell of a drop kick in this match. I realized that Bart didn't have a whole lot of charisma, but I feel like they could have probably done more with him than they did.
Probably, yeah. Unfortunately, just remember the brawl for all.
Yeah, I keep trying to forget.
But... Sorry.
The match ends when Goldust just completely comes out, hits the ring, and chases off.
It's another non-clean finish in this show of non-clean finishes.
Yeah, this wasn't the best show. You know what I mean? We watched a string of really good shows, and this one had the potential to be a good show, but they just had so much gaga in every match that it made most of the matches, even if they were good, almost unwatchable. You know what I mean?
And what is Goldust doing there? His wife is in the hospital.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Why is he there attacking bloody Hunter? He should be at the hospital with his wife. Bad husband.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Glenn. I kind of thought the same thing too. I'm like, what's he doing here? Wouldn't he be at the hospital with your wife who's spitting up blood?
Yeah.
Because that sounds pretty serious.
It does, you know.
The next thing we get an update on Shawn Michaels' knee condition from his doctor, James Andrews, who tells us that's the same injury that he's had for a while. It just got a little bit of a tweak, and that they don't think he's going to have surgery at this point. It's only going to be 6 weeks of rehab, and then they will reevaluate. So just like The Undertaker said, I'll believe that shit when I see the scar. And then, Glenn, it happens. Finally, it happens.
Take 3. Yeah, take 3.
Psycho Sid is going to take on Bret Hart for the WWF Championship. Austin doesn't show up this time before the match starts, so I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's it. He said this time that the whole way through this match is the King having a go at the Hearts, especially Stu and Helen.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been his gimmick for a lot of years, but he was really doing it here. The nice thing about this match is that we didn't get any cut screens, we didn't get any promos. It was actually, full on watch the match the whole time.
I'll tell you what, though, there was one bit at the start. They said, we'll go to we'll take a break, and then when we come back, you will have the main event uninterrupted. So what did they do? Halfway through, it was foot action rewind.
And they showed what happened to Vader the night before, didn't they? Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't get that either. I'm like, well, if we need to get right back to the WWF title match. Why would you need to show me this shit?
That's it.
They also remind us during this match that whoever the WWF champion is will face the Undertaker at WrestleMania. So there's that. I don't think that there's been a wrestler history that does a better big man versus little guy match than Bret Hart. Bret Hart is just so good at fighting from underneath against a bigger heel that he did it. He did a great job of working on Sid's knee. I just love the storytelling in every Bret Hart match. It's always so good.
Well, it makes up for him not having any promo skills. Or very limited promo skills, should I say.
He could talk in the ring, not so much on the mic. He also did that spot where he puts Sid in the figure four around the ring post, and he's going to do that a lot, later on this year, and we're going to see a lot after the years to come. But I don't think I'd ever seen him do it until now. I think this might be the first time he did it.
No, well, that's what JR said on commentary. It's the first time he'd seen that.
So, and the visual of that, it looks like it hurts like a motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It probably does.
Yeah, but the thing, it probably hurts Bret.
There's no way
it
he could
hurt Bret more than it hurts the person who's in it.
Yeah, because all they're doing is just hanging their legs over the edge, but having enough strength in their legs to hold Bret up. But Bret's doing all the work of hanging it on,
dangling there. Yeah. Really great. I think it's just a really cool spot because it looks like he's killing the guy. Like, oh my god, he's gonna break his leg.
That's right.
I thought the crowd had some really big reactions to Sid. I thought Sid was getting more babyface pops than Bret was during this.
Yes, Sid. There was Sid chants and everything.
He even hit like a big leg drop from the second rope, but that only gets a 2 count. This was a really good match, a good big man, little man match. What do you think?
I enjoyed it. It was the best thing that happened in the show. To be fair, the show actually built up to it quite well.
True. But really, the only point of this entire 2-hour show is this match. That's the only thing they built to.
Yeah.
It's the only thing they made.
That is it.
Which I get because it is the WWF Championship match, but also you don't need to undercut especially your Intercontinental Champion. You don't need to undercut your Intercontinental Champion to push this match. So I don't know.
No, that shouldn't. If they were going to do that, they shouldn't have done it on this show. That should have just been a jobber match.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. They should have just had The Rock pin somebody quick, is what they should have done.
Yeah.
There's a really cool spot where Sid's like leaning up against the ropes and Bret like charges at him full force, but Sid moves and Bret just kind of slams himself into the middle rope. Bret then backdrops Sid over the top rope. And then, of course, Glenn, we can't have any more of this show without Steve Austin showing up. Because he always shows up. Yeah, Sid knocks him completely down to the ground quickly, and then Sid does a sunset flip. That's right, I'm not making this up. Sid did a sunset flip from the outside of the ring to the inside of the ring. But Bret countered it into the sharpshooter, which was a really cool counter.
It wasn't very snappy. It was something.
Yeah. And then so the referee's kind of down by Sid's face so he can see if Sid's going to quit or not. So Stone Cold Steve Austin gets up on the ring apron. He's got a chair, whacks Bret Hart right over the head with it. Then Sid hits the power bomb for the 1, 2, 3, and Psycho Sid is the new WWF champion after Bret Hart has held the belt for about 24 hours.
That was the most lame-ass chair shot I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
He just sort of put it on his head.
Yeah, he really didn't. He didn't swing that thing with much ferocity. No, he did not.
No.
And so Psycho Sid, now the 2-time WWF champion, he will face The Undertaker at WrestleMania. And The Undertaker makes his way down to the ring, and we get a little stare down between the two as the show goes off the air.
Mm-hmm.
So that is it. That is the February 17th edition of Monday Night Raw. Glenn, we going 2 thumbs up, 2 thumbs down, 1 in the middle. What are you doing?
Mm-mm. 1 thumb.
I'm going to agree with you there. because they built the main event up very well, and the main event was good, so I will give it 1 thumb up. They did kind of shit on everything else on the show, though.
That's it.
They really did. Star of the show?
Sid.
I'm going to go...
Kicked off with a good promo for Sid standards of promos.
Yeah.
I finished the show. Put a few potatoes on Vince midway through the show and ended the show as the champion. So he's got to be the MVP of this show.
I was going to say Stone Cold Steve Austin, but with what you just said, I'm going to agree because they really built toward this main event, and Sid won that main event. So I guess he would have to be the MVP of the show, and I can't argue that.
And there's plenty of other shows that Steve Austin's going to get that title.
Yes. So. WrestleMania 13, I think he's definitely going to be the MVP of, and we haven't even watched it yet.
Yes.
So that's it. That is at the end of the 10th episode of Warring Attitude. Glenn, you got anything you need to plug?
Yes, it's out now. My episode of Bang Bang Podcast with Andy, where we reviewed NXT TakeOver, and I still can't remember what the bloody name of it is.
Revolution?
It's no.
God damn it.
I have to look it up.
Bang Podcast. Hold on, I got this. I'm gonna fucking figure it out. God damn it. NXT Unstoppable, Glenn. It's unstoppable.
That was
NXT
it.
Unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
And we are.
Well, I keep so it's not unstoppable that I keep forgetting what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's out. Give Andy a follow and a listen. He's the British version of AEW, basically. AWI Pod. Sorry about this, folks. I'm getting a very old man now.
It's okay, Glenn. It's your birthday. You're allowed to do whatever you want.
I'm Booking the Territory. Give them a follow and a listen. And also the Doctor Who podcast, which they've just started their season 4. The first episode of season 4 has just dropped. So if you're into Doctor Who, give them a listen too.
That's right.
And of course, DDT.
Yep.
DC and Doc still carrying on doing their stuff, even still talking wrestling, although they say they're not going to.
Well, it doesn't matter. Send them an email.
No.
Get on the podcast. Ask them a question.
Yeah.
DDT. What is it? DDT podcast at what's the address?
It's podcast at ddtwrestling.com.
There you go. Drop them an email. Ask them a question. Check out DDT Wrestling if you don't. And of course, make sure you give our buddy, our other co-host, our Michael Hayes, to our Freebirds, the mayor of Canton, a follow, and check out A Meal with the Mayor every Wednesday. And of course, make sure you check out SportsWire Radio and give our friend Thomas Bryce a follow at Thomas Bryce 2017. If you haven't already, make sure you check out our Cup of UK Heritage. Episode 1 is out now. Episode 2 will be out tomorrow, where me and Glenn will review the semifinals and the final of the inaugural NXT UK Heritage Cup tournament. I said this on the Mayor Superstars, which you should check that out. That's out now too. That if you're an old school wrestling fan like me and Glenn, and you've never seen a Heritage Cup rules match, I suggest that you go back, have a look at these just like we do, and then listen to our show so we can all review them and enjoy them together. And well, Glenn, I think there's only one thing left to do, and that's for you to say goodbye.
No, there's one more thing to do to show that I'm a total twat. I've just cleared out a load of old notes, and I think I've thrown my notes away for tomorrow's show.
That's okay. Dig them out of the
trash. Go rummaging in the bin. Anyway.
So from the dumpster,
one thing left me to say. Goodbye.
Oh, that's good.